Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glenn Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both the match attending and international supporters view. In this week's episode, we'll be reviewing the Leeds match from last weekend, previewing the Villa match on Sunday, as well as taking a look at some of the news around the squad about injuries, international performances, and more. We'll be joined by our guest David Harris from Grumpy Old Spurs. Lads, it's Tottenham.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.
Glenn, are you good?
I'm good, mate. I'm doing good. I was just
You
saying
sound
off
very
air,
subdued.
Yeah, back from Vietnam. Wonderful holiday. We're getting to my experience of the Leeds game in a little bit. But the 4-hour time swing, it doesn't sound much, but we just covered it offline. It messes with you. Getting up in the mornings, rather difficult. But there we are. I'm good. I will not grumble too much. But yes, I'm well. How are you, Graham? Are you well, mate?
Yeah, good. Been missing. I hate the international break. I just don't have no interest in international football at the moment. And it was nice to see Jed Spence get a start last week, but apart from that, not that bothered. Just sitting there twiddling my thumbs.
Thing on Instagram with Brennan Johnson in the dog collar and him holding it.
Yeah, that.
I don't know if you saw
I don't
that.
think that's particularly helpful, is it?
Yeah, I was like, let's not ruin the squad unity.
Look, I wouldn't want to be in training. It might get a bit feisty.
Yeah, no, indeed. And then as you mentioned, Graham, David, we've got you here joining us in the same time zone as me, which is always a pleasant change. David, you're based in Sydney, mate, and host of Grumpy Old Spurs, Lads, it's Tottenham.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks very much for having me on, guys. And yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to do a pod or YouTube at a slightly more reasonable hour, because normally we do Grumpy either at 5:30 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning. And so, yeah, no, we do the show, well, Monday night UK time is 8:30, and then obviously we sort of dance around the time zone difference. So the whole idea is that when we get people on the show who are guests, we go, what was the first time you went to see Tottenham? And then the second question is, what was the first time that Tottenham made you grumpy? It could be anything. It could be absolutely anything. It doesn't have to be a game. It could have been, they sent you the wrong size shirt, merch, or whatever. And it's in the spirit of that. We are allowed to swear on this.
Of course,
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, so it is I like, some people, Gibbo might call it a piss take. I'm trying to posh it up and say we're trying to do a bit of satire. So we look at stuff like, do you remember when we had the dog in the match day program last season that won a Donna Cullen's thing? So we did Dog of the Week one week, and we featured the dog that was in the program. So we like to have a bit of a light-hearted laugh at it. Don't take it too seriously. If you're looking for XG analysis, I wouldn't come watching our show, to be honest.
No, all good.
Yeah. I think tactical is fairly limited for us as well.
Right.
Yeah.
It's more emotional.
Ours is more emotional.
We're both sat on the emotional roller coaster going up.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And in that spirit, why the hell do you support Spurs, David? I can tell by your accent, like me and Graham, obviously English, but is there a bit of a backstory to why Spurs? Family? Was it your dad, your mum, uncles? What drew you to Tottenham?
Well, I mean, just to point out, my mum is a gooner.
God!
Yes, I love her very much.
My condolences.
Well, no, it's all good. The rest of the household is Tottenham. So my grandfather on my late dad's side, they were in the East End of London, and they were on the commercial road. He started going to Tottenham. Now, really, he should have gone to West Ham. I don't know no one knows why he didn't go to West Ham. I'm very grateful that he didn't. So he first started going in 1938. And then obviously he had 3 sons. And so I started going in 1977, which was just after we got relegated. So my first ever game was Tottenham 9, Bristol Rovers 0.
Yep.
Great way to start. I thought it was going to be like that forever. Obviously it's not. And therefore my first hero was Colin Lee, who made his debut that day and scored 4 goals. And I didn't know until I'd listened to the Spurs show a few years ago that actually Bill Nick took the team that day because the general had a family bereavement and he had to sort that out. So I have actually seen Bill Nick manage Tottenham, which I didn't realise till a few years ago. So that's kind of how I've ended up supporting Tottenham.
Good stuff. What a story. I mean, as far as your location, like me, David, do you, Graham and I actually have a season ticket, a pair together, but and often it gets sold. Sometimes Graham goes, take somebody, but do you get back? Like, obviously it's a bastard flight and difficult. But do you get back? Have you been to a new stadium? Like, it's not so new anymore, but do you get back very often for games, mate? Or is there harder to achieve like it is for me?
Look, post-COVID, I've been back a few times. I actually, pre-COVID, I went to this new stadium just after it opened. So I went to Huddersfield, the 5-1 Lucas
Yep.
Moura, and also the Brighton game, which was crucial to get us back in the Champions League when Eriksen scored near the end. And so I think I went to the Leeds game when when Conte was just in charge. And I'm going to admit this, and I'm really sorry, but the last time I went was Tottenham Chelsea. Now, we were late for the game. We had to do a family appointment, and there was no getting around it. So me and my brother turned up to the stadium last season. Son had just scored the second. The VAR check was up. I walk into the stadium. It's disallowed. And as we all know what happened after that, it all went to shit. And
So it's your fault.
And my brother, the family that I've been going to see Tottenham since I was a little kid, they all turned around to me and said, "When are you going back? You've done enough damage again." So I have been, as much as I can. Like sometimes we end up going over there and it's an international break, or we're playing Newcastle away and stuff like that, and you just can't do it.
Yeah.
But we try and get to a game
Yeah.
as much as we can. Yeah, definitely.
No, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, talking of games, we had a game, Leeds.
Seems like
Graham.
about a month ago already, doesn't it?
I know, it's mad, isn't it? Did you, because it was, would have been obviously the lunchtime game in England. Did you just watch at home? Did you watch with anyone, mate?
No, I watched at home. Yeah, no, just me and the dog on the sofa.
Well,
Yeah.
Right.
I'd be honest. I didn't have a lot of. I wasn't very optimistic about it. It was the trifecta, right? It was the Spurs trifecta. It was the last game before international break. It was a team we've had a really good run of games against, and I just felt like that it was. And I hate that. And also, it was a lunchtime kickoff, and we seem to really struggle always in those lunchtime kickoff games as well. And so, I wasn't particularly optimistic, and I think I predicted a narrow win or a draw. I can't remember now, but I thought it was a decent match. All things considered, I think had a bit of bite to it. It wasn't particularly a clean game, was it? I felt like Leeds were pretty feisty,
I thought we were
but I
bullied.
thought we
I
coped
was a
pretty
bit
well with them
concerned.
for the majority.
I was a bit concerned during some of that game. I thought we were bullied, and I was concerned that we were going to be on the wrong end of a 2-1 defeat or something. But I thought that we came out second half and looked a lot better. David, it was obviously a 9:30 p.m. kickoff for you, because it was 6:30 for me in Vietnam, which we'll get into in a minute on my watching experience. Did you watch at home, David, or did you get to the pub, mate, in Sydney? I know they've got, is it still the same boozer that they go to?
Yeah, this is the one in Surrey Hills. Which, to be honest, I don't really do that. And I'll be very honest with you, I double booked a social arrangement without realising that this was the last great time slot for 6. Well, the Friday night games, which I know that I know that obviously English fans are very unhappy about Saturday night game at 8 p.m.
Yeah,
is 7 a.m. Sunday morning. So for us, brilliant.
yeah.
Pretty happy about that.
For me, I'm getting home at 12:30.
Yeah.
And I'm
From
sorry
that.
about that.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, Glenn and I have woken up in the middle of the night to watch games and then
I know.
try and go back to sleep and stuff like that. So I double booked, and so I watched the game the next day without learning a score. And so I watched it then. I watched the whole game then. I thought that for me, it was job done, right? I was a bit surprised that Palinha and Bentancur started together again. I never want to see them start at home ever again together.
No.
I just think it just doesn't work. So I think maybe Leeds away, they'll be up for it, the crowd, blah, blah, blah. That's what he did there. I thought that Odegaard and Tell both showed stuff in that game where I'm hoping they get confidence out of it. In particular, I remember that Odegaard did that lovely kind of turn and then that pass down on the left-hand side, and Kudos should have really finished it off. And then obviously Tell got the goal, and he had that really good header as well. If we had a proper top 4 challenging, functioning squad, that those two, to be honest with you, won't be anywhere near the first team, and an option off the bench at best. But I thought they showed flashes there, and you hope that they get confidence out of it.
Well, they both scored a hatful of goals away for the French under-21s this week as well. So they've obviously got some understanding between them. So it's at least if they can carry that, if we do need to use them, that they've got that understanding. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if you
also thought Vicario, for all of his faults in the last few games, he made some important saves in that match as well, right?
He
Yeah.
certainly did. Well, I have a Vicario. If you could blend Vicario and Kinski, I think we've got a really good goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Vicario does my head in. Like it makes great saves like that, but then he do dumb shit like the fucking thing he did in Europa League final when Van der Ven cleared it off the line. Just come out and catch the thing. Like,
Yeah. Then I also saw in the news this week, and I saw someone promoting that they said that we might be interested in a goalkeeper in January,
Mm-hmm.
which seems we need to stop buying potential goalkeepers and just buy a goalkeeper. It just feels a bit like if we don't rate Kinski as well, then we should probably move one of them on. We can't afford to have them all in the squad, can we?
Well, I mean, look at Arteta. He upgraded Ramsdale, right? And I was really disappointed we didn't get Raya in. I'm really disappointed about that.
Yeah.
Now, for the first 3 or 4 months, when Raya was struggling when he started at Arsenal, and Vicario had his best spell, everyone was going to making me eat humble pie. Now, I think the thing with Vicario is this. I don't know if you remember that YouTube clip the summer he signed where everyone showed that triple save he made, right? But at least I think 2 out of 3 shots is palming it away back into the danger area.
Yeah.
The second 2 shouldn't have happened at all because it should have been in his hands by that stage.
Yeah, so Connor Levionomics on our show, he calls it, was it tennis wrists or tennis ball wrists or something like that? But basically, Vicario, he's not very good on crosses. He doesn't dominate the area well. He's a good shot stopper, but to the extent where he doesn't palm it back into the path of somebody else. And he's very good at punching down. And what I mean by that is he's good at bollocking the younger players, but he goes nowhere near Romero or Ven to bollock them. So when all is said and done, I'd be very happy if we traded him in from upgrade. I think it's more likely next summer.
Yeah, probably.
I wouldn't disagree.
Fair.
Just going back to your comment on Tell, David, something I picked up on, I don't know if any of you guys saw it, but at the end of the game, Thomas Frank was like taking them all over to the fans and he was like pushing him in front of the Spurs fans to get the applaud. So he's clearly got the backing of Frank and Frank wants to see him do well. So hopefully that just elevates his confidence. Because Solanke's still out, isn't he? So there's no way he starts or plays against Villa.
So that niggling injury ended up being operated on, didn't it, before the Leeds game? 2 days before the Leeds game.
Yeah.
So I don't know what our medical team would do, but they don't seem to be able to gauge an injury very well. We seem to end up with these, even like Colin Warney's dead leg has been like, 4 games?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And he's before this season, before he joined Tottenham, he'd had 1 game out in his entire career from injury, and he's had 4 already with us.
He hadn't missed a lot of football, but importantly, Graham was a recipient of some live messages. My story on the Leeds game. So we're in Vietnam, and if you look on a map, we are in an area called I don't know if you've been to Vietnam, David.
No.
It's by the way, beautiful country. I've been 23 years ago, first time back. Amazing country, amazing people, cheap. I mean, we were going out for family meals and a lot of food and drinks, and it was like $40 for all 4 of us. Oh, amazing. And I was paying like 75 cents a beer, like incredible. So we're in this area of Vietnam called Ninh Binh Tam Coc, which is pretty remote. And we were there very much for tourism and seeing these wonders of the world, these rock formations anyway. So we're staying with this guy and he's like, I showed him on the phone. I was like, I think I found someone that might show the football. He spoke okay English and he's like, yeah, I'll call them for you. So he called and he's like, yeah, they've assured me that they have it on, like, and they have a Formula One on qualifying for your son as well. And I'm like, cool. So it's this sports bar / nightclub. It was 5:45 in the evening. We arrived. First off, it was fucking baking hot, no AC, fans blasting, just moving hot air around. So I'm like, fucking hell, it's hot in here. We're the only ones in there. I see in the corner, the TV's on and it's showing like Premier League highlights. So I translated on Google Translate. I was like, right, you're showing the league. You showing the Leeds Tottenham game? And he's like, looking at me a bit blankly and he didn't really comprehend. And then time passed and it was like 6:10. So we're 20 minutes to kick off. And I'm like, is this a possibility? And then we got through the Google Translate and then he disappeared. Then this girl appeared with this remote from another bar. She was then getting this dodgy feed she was logging into this dodgy feed, and then it like started to show the pre-game, and then it kept jumping and stuttering, and I'm like, fuck. And then I looked at the other TV, and I was like, I think you have the subscription you need. Like, there's the game there. You just need to click on it, like on K Plus. So again, around a Google Translate, we finally get there. It's play, and then in trying to please me, they were just so nice and welcoming. But in trying to please me, they're like fucking it up because they're like, "No, we're going to go to the feed because now it's on." No, it's on this. It's just not kicked off yet. And then they're looking at me like, "What do you mean?" Oh my god! So we finally get it on. Then we have this ongoing battle of commentary or not commentary because he wanted music on.
Right.
So he's like trying to explain to me, no, it's a nightclub as well. And I was like, yeah, but we're the only ones here and I want to watch the football. So again,
and it's 7 o'clock on a Saturday night. I mean, who's going dancing at 7 o'clock on a Saturday
honest to
night?
God, it was dead as a dodo. We're the only ones in there. So this went back and forth for a bit. Then I ended up getting my son involved because he was like, look, Dad, I'll get the remote. I'll figure this out because the feed kept messing up. He's a bit techy. And then he took the remote and the bloke looked at me and I was like, ended up putting the Google Translate, how much do I need to give you to keep this remote? So I gave him the equivalent of like $5 Australian, which is what £2.50. So he was happy with that. Then we watched the first half, and then he comes over to me and he asks for the remote back to put his music back on at half time. I was like, okay, that's fine. And then the second half's about to start. He comes over and he goes, can we have it on the other TV? And I went, why? And he goes, well, I want the music on this one. And I was like, no music. Like, I want the game commentary. I mean, fucking hell. So I ended up having to give him another bit of money.
Right.
And then I ended up keeping the remote on my table so he wouldn't touch it because I paid for it. Game finishes, and within like seconds of the final whistle, he comes over, gets the remote, puts his music back on. All right, bye, mate. Thanks so much. Gave him another tip. But oh my God, like it was so. They're such nice people, but in like trying to please me, it just went terribly wrong. But yeah. Kudos goal was good, I thought. I thought he took the goal well.
But you saw it though. Was it?
Yeah, got to see it. And then Graham was messaging me and he's like, any other Spurs fans? Because I had this grand plan that had I seen any other Spurs fans, maybe from Vietnam, I was going to get a little interview and a little plug.
Yeah.
There was just 2 Leeds fans that came in and they left at half time. They didn't want to tolerate the nonsense any longer.
Right.
So I think they must have gone somewhere else or just
Lightweight.
Yeah, lightweight. But yeah, quite the story. I thought Kudos took his goal really well, though.
He played well the whole match. I thought he was really influential.
He did. Going forward and defensively, I think he offers a fair bit. You know, I think he's a really important player for us. Man, it pissed off the Pikeys, which is always fun to take a player from them. But yeah, I mean, of course, without getting too ahead of ourselves, we are third in the league. And arguably, as I said to Graham the other day, we've not been amazing.
Not played most games. We haven't played that well, really, have we?
Yeah, we haven't like been amazing. But like, David, where do you sit on like our prospects for the overall kind of season and next few months? Like, what would be satisfying to you from a position of where we are in the league come Christmas? Obviously, we've got Champions League contend with. I mean, I think we would all agree that last season was an absolute anomaly in that we finished 17th and maybe won a trophy is an anomaly as well. Where do you sit, mate, come Christmas time? Where do you want to see Spurs? Like, what would be a success under the Frank era?
Look, I think for this season, for me, it's going to be, given the squad that he's got at the moment and given the amount of business he can really do in January, which is not a huge amount, I would love us to win a domestic cup, and I would realistically, if we finish in a Europa League Cup place in the league, I'd be all right with that. If we managed to somehow get to the quarters, last 8 of the Champions League, I'd call that a really good season, right? I think in terms of, and obviously we have a new era under our new owners, the Lewis family. As you well know, they're our new owners, and it's great to see them. And they'll bring
the money moved from this hand to this hand.
From one person into the family trust. And now we have our new owners who don't seem to use the word ENIC anymore for some reason. But realistically,
majority shareholders, they're called now, aren't they?
They are indeed the majority shareholders. So I think realistically, look, up top, Moani's got a dead leg and he's had it for 3 or 4 weeks, although some other people said that he was overweight, hadn't kept himself fit over the summer, was waiting for the Juventus move. I'm hoping...
It's hard to get fit when you've got a dead leg, isn't it?
It's very hard to get, yes, exactly. So I think I'm very I was excited about him coming because he had a good second half of the season at Serie A with Juventus, and he's got some credentials there. I think he did well at Frankfurt, I think, and when they won the
Yeah.
Europa, right? Tick, happy about that. Richarlison is just not good enough. I just think the front, where the concern is, I really like Xavi-Simon. I really want him to play at number 10. I really like Kudos as well. And obviously, I love the fact that the West Ham are really upset about it. I don't know if you ever heard Karen Brady slanging him off on Talk Sport. That was brilliant as well. That was fantastic. Loved that. So I'm excited about those two. What I'm worried about is that we're going to overplay them, and there's going to be periods of time they're going to be injured, tired, or out of form. And we haven't really. Solanke, look, I think the thing with Solanke, the irony of last season was, I don't know if you remember the Forest game at home, where Odegaard and Tell played, and they actually pinged a load of crosses into the box, which we hadn't had the whole season. And that's where Solanke would have really thrived.
Yeah.
But he's on the bench and Richarlison starts. Nice one, Ange. So I would like to see Solanke get some decent service, which he would get with Xavi-Simon and with Kudos as well. So realistically, I think that's it. I think the challenge is going to be we get some injuries to those key players who we've got as backup. We're really thin.
Well,
Yeah.
and just on a related note, you touched on the ownership, and it was briefly mentioned on the investment. Is it true? And maybe I'll be corrected here. I don't know if it is actual fact. Is it fact that the money that's been raised by them has to be matched by Levy for him to remain the stakeholder?
No, or his shares would be diluted.
Nice.
So does that
basically their percentage ownership has gone up with that investment?
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So on that money that they've raised, I mean, what was it, 100 million? They've said,
Yeah.
and they're suggesting it's going straight back in the team, from what I've read. So does that just tell us all that in January we're going to sign someone? Like, and who is that?
Well, I mean, to quote Gibbo on the WhatsApp group that I'm on with him, he said, "Great, we can sign 3 shit players."
Well, this is my concern. What we're going to do with that money?
Yeah.
Although I feel like at least in the last window, it looked like we had a bit more ambition about the quality of the signings that we were going for. We were going for people with experience rather than, I guess, where we bought a lot of prospects, right, and a lot of younger players with potentially a high ceiling. It hasn't really always worked out for us in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But like Xavi Simons and Kudos is a known entity as a Premier League player.
Well, bang, they're straight in the team, aren't they? That's the difference.
Exactly. And actually, you've seen the difference it makes having a player like that to come in and make an immediate impact in the games that they've played in. And I think
we desperately still need a proper left winger, like in terms
that's
of
I think that's the glaring gap. I know we were trying to get
Savinho,
and that didn't work out. But someone in that position,
Well,
I still think we need another striker. I think as well, right?
Brennan Johnson on the left.
I'd be quite happy for Richarlison to go back to Brazil or anywhere he likes with my blessing.
Well,
and then
Brennan Johnson on the left
another
isn't a thing. Like, he just isn't a left winger. Some might argue he's not a right winger. I mean, some might argue he does nothing else but pop up at the back post and score goals. But
Yeah.
But Richarlison's an interesting one, right? Because I don't know. Like, to your point, David, he isn't good enough as a striker, and he's not going to get you the goals that you need for the money that we paid for him. But when he's operated on the left, particularly in that Europa League final, when he worked his socks off, and he does do a really good job for the team, like when he runs the channels, and he's a bastard to play against. Like, it's just an absolute nightmare. But to your point, if we can bin him off and get a proper upgrade, then you would do it. But yeah, so left wing, and then I suppose depending on the extent of Solanke's injury and how long he expected to be out, could we see another striker come in? You'd think Mawani's probably it as far as he's on loan, but I don't know whether we're seeing any more movement. However, I was just reading an interesting article on The Athletic. I'm going to send it to you, Graham, about the kid that we signed from, I think we signed him last February. There's a chance he could end up being Troy Parra 2.0, but Mason Melia.
Oh, yeah, he's been playing. Is it Shamrock Rovers he plays for? We signed him and put him and sent him straight back.
Well, apparently
he's been knocking him in for fun, hasn't he?
Yeah. For what it's worth, in the Irish league, he's knocking him in for fun, and also because of Brexit, you can't see Irish players now leave before the age of 18. So before you had a lot of them coming into the academies and stuff. Now they have to wait. So then they're suggesting he's more ready. They're almost likening it to a Bergville in terms of he come in.
But then it's like Lancashire and Scarlett and Felice we've got a lot of these players, and
Yep.
and then I don't think he gets near the first team. He might be very good, but how
According
do
to
we?
the article, he's going to be readied and training with the first team straight away. I don't know. Like, I'll send you the article. It could be interesting.
Was that
I mean-
Jack Pitt-Brook who wrote that?
It's on the Athletic.
I used to
can have a
call
look.
him Jack Pitt-Brook Levy.
Let me see who it's actually. Connor O'Neill is
Okay.
the.
Which one is making an assumption, although we don't make assumptions about people's backgrounds or anything like that he possibly may be
Probably
from,
is Irish. Yeah.
just potentially from the Emerald Isle. So he
Yeah.
might have a
Or-
bias there. But I
He's
mean,
probably, he would definitely qualify it for to play for Ireland. Just put it that way.
like
Yeah.
Tony
That's a much bigger-
like Tony Cascarino, for example.
Or Andy Townsend. Yeah.
Indeed.
Once drunk a Guinness on a plane flying over Ireland is close enough.
Once
Yeah.
listened to a U2 album, you're in.
Anyone who's got an iPhone, basically.
Yeah, that's
Qualifies.
right. Exactly. Look, I think, I can't see Savinho coming. I mean, has he signed a new contract?
No,
I
he
think it's-
signed a new contract. Yeah, he
Right,
did.
well,
He's
that's-
signed up. Actually,
okay.
it's not happening.
So that's not happening. I mean, look, the caliber of player that we didn't sign last summer was Eze and Morgan Gibbs White. You got to be impressed by the fact that they were good. And if we'd have got those two in, we'd have been out the races. I just think that we kind of need a left-footed centre-back, really. And what else do we need? And then Paulinho, as much as I'm enjoying him and as much as he improves the first team, he's a proper number 6. I don't see the hurry that we have to sign him. Wait until the summer and see what
Yeah,
happens.
water.
Because I'd rather...
Maybe
Yeah.
going to get water.
I mean, if our new owners are really serious about these things, they'll whack down a load of money for Wharton, and we're going to judge our new owners on the next 2 windows, really, and not really the January window. But if we've got this 100 million coming in, and then there's some kind of finance facility from Macquarie Bank, who Glenwood knows.
There was like a payday loan, wasn't it? It looked like.
Yeah, but they do that. They do that a lot.
Yeah.
They organise financing with Premier League clubs where they basically pay up front what they think the prize money is going to be from the Premier League, and they pay that up front, and that's the form of the loan, and then they get a security across the assets of the club. So that's pretty standard. And with the 100 million, and obviously for down payment, it's not going to be 100 million. You're going to down payment of whatever. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens. But, it's interesting because, as I said, the Lewis family have rebranded away from Enoch, and you've got Vinay in place. He's now hiring a load of people, some of whom were at the Arsenal. And whether or not, would you be happy if Paratici comes back in?
Look, if you look at that Europa League starting 11, I can't remember the exact number, but it was quite a high number of players that started in that game came from Paratici, right? So, and he's responsible for, was it Bentancur, Kulusevski?
Yeah.
But okay. My thing about him
Romero.
is, I think he's a really lazy sporting director in that he basically recycles the same players from different clubs. So, like the players that he bought for Juventus, he then bought from Juventus, and so he's. I don't think his network is that broad. I think he tends to deal in the same circles all the time. But then I don't think that what we've currently got is working either. I don't feel that we're particularly well. I just don't. I watch. I can't even remember his name. What's his name? The current director of football.
Langer.
Langer. Langer. There you go. He's so vanilla that I completely forgot him. But I don't feel like he's doing a particularly good job, and maybe that's an area where we could improve as well.
But he and Frank worked together, didn't they, at previous club?
Yeah.
They knew each other, yeah.
Maybe that helps, but maybe it's not him, but the scouting network maybe that needs a refresh. Then, because we're really good at picking up players after they've had 2 really good moves, and they cost us 4 times as much as we would have done if we had found them at the beginning.
I think Langer, you got to give him a bit of credit for the. I think he was all over the Bergvall deal, and you can't say that Bergvall.
No, absolutely, yeah. So I'm not.
You got to give him
not,
credit
not,
for that.
You throw enough shit at the wall, some of it's going to stick, right?
Archie Gray, we kind of really moved for him after Brentford put in a bid for him, and he was going to Brentford, right?
Yeah.
But
We've had a couple of. Who was the guy in Belgium? The guy who failed a medical at Brentford. I can't remember his name is now.
But we got bullied by the Notts Forest owner. We got absolutely played by Palace for Eze, or got played by Eze, and it was a bit.
I don't say those ones are on them, but I feel like we waited a long time for Gibbs White, and I think it took us a long time to recover from not getting him. I feel like it seemed to take a long time. So we clearly didn't have we didn't go full Paratici and have like 10 players lined up
No, that's
at
right.
the same time.
I'd still suggest that Xavi Simons is a better player with a higher ceiling than both of those, though. I think he's got a higher ceiling than Eze and Gibbs White in both age, ability, what he's already done in the game.
I also think
we've
that,
ended up with the better one, is what I'm saying there.
I mean, I like Eze's a great player, right? I do like him, but I don't think he's a good fit for the way we play. In terms of he kind of he doesn't really want to play as a 10, and he doesn't really want to play as a winger, and we're playing that way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like an inside left, or or he'd need a lot of freedom. I guess what we're doing with Xavi Simons a little bit, but so I think Simons is a better fit for the way we want to play.
Look, it's one of those, isn't it? You get to David's point earlier in terms of where I asked him the question on what's a successful season. It's going to be, with a crystal ball, it's going to be really interesting to see where we are come May.
Yeah.
In terms of what have these signings done? What did we go and get in January?
Mm.
Because what's going to be really telling to me, and I'm not for one moment suggesting that we're going to win the league, but something that's always held us back when we've been second or third in the league, or maybe top. And you have this January window come along, and then we just don't back ourselves. Like, it just seems like we're just not content in
Ryan Nelson.
Now, well, this is it. So
Look,
if it's a big if in January we're 2 points off the top and we still got to play those around us, and we've had good results with those around us to that point, if they go and back themselves and back Frank and go and add real quality like they have with Kudus and Simons, who the fuck knows what can be achieved, right? It's potentially a really exciting time, because if they put their money where their mouth is, because Vinay in his interview, he didn't say there would be a war chest, but he also didn't say that we wouldn't go and sign players in January. So
he kind of said, I shouldn't say we've got a war chest, basically, because as soon as you say that, people know you've got money and the prices go up.
Yeah. So it's going to be a mighty interesting time to see what happens in January. And also, we touched on him in terms of the comments around Paratici. We still got Kulusevski to come back.
Yeah.
Now,
I think he's close to a return as well.
Yeah. So that's
we could see him. We could see him on the pitch before Christmas.
And
yeah, but it's interesting with Kulusevski. Yeah, it's an interesting thing is where do you actually play him, right?
Yeah.
Because you'd argue that the best spell. Well, I think Kulusevski has had 2 good spells at the club, and the rest of the time pretty meh, right? So the first good spell was when he joined us, and Conte, when we got top 4, and him, Sonny, and Kane were lethal, right?
Yeah.
And he was great.
In that game away to City, which I think was his debut.
He was, yeah.
Yeah. He was always good against City, right?
Yeah.
Now, the other good spell that he had when he was kind of like the 8/10 last season. I mean, I particularly remember the Glasgow Rangers game where he started the move and finished the move and was fantastic, right?
Yeah.
And I think I'm not quite sure he's an out-and-out 10. He might be an 8. I do remember when him and Maddison played against the Gooners at the North London derby at home last season. The two of them were just passing it side to side to side. It was so slow, the progression. And the other thing about him is that when he plays, I like him playing up top on the right if we're playing a top 6 team away. And he's really good at keeping the ball like a City away and soaking up the pressure. Kudos can do that now. Kudos is actually very good at that. And Kudos is a truckload faster than Kuluk's thing is step inside, wait 5 minutes and get crossing.
He's also pretty press resistant as well. Like, it's really hard to get the ball off him.
Yeah. And I do think our midfield really is loaded with a truckload of number 8s. I'd even argue Benton.
Yeah, it would be Bergvall. He'd be competing with Bergvall and Archie Gray now. I think he's better as an 8 than he is as a 6. So
also
there's a whole bunch of players, isn't there? Like Benton,
I think Sarr is a really, really important player for us. He's been really good. Been really, really good.
That's interesting to say about Sarr, because I know we've only had 8, 9, 10 games. So at the start of the season, I thought Sarr is probably the best form of his Tottenham career, right?
Yeah, including the pre-season as well.
And it started for me Europa League final.
Yes,
he was amazing in that.
Yeah. But recently, he's kind of been rested, dropped, or whatever. And then hang on, who did we? Bodo Glint, he was awful away. He was shocking.
Everyone was really.
Yeah, but I know that everyone was, but He was kind of he'd been picked for the first time in a couple of games. So you need to
Yeah,
stay.
you'd think he'd be up for it, yeah.
You thought he'd be up for it. And then, did he play, let me get this right, did he play the Wolves at home? I can't remember.
I can't remember now.
Yeah, but there's been a couple of games recently that he's had a couple of stinkers. But the first part of the small part of the season, he's looked really, really good. So you want competition for places. So you've really kind of got Bergvall, Sarr and Kulu really for that number 8 spot. Xavi Simons at the number 10. And then if you need to rotate Xavi out, maybe you then put Kulu in as a 10.
Yeah.
And then that's good squad rotation there. And then up top on the right, I mean, Brennan Johnson, I'm sorry, I've been patient with him, but
It's really frustrating because he was a top goal scorer last season.
Yeah.
But I never felt that he, apart from the goals, he didn't really give anything else to the team.
No.
I mean, I felt bad for Solanke because when he had Son one side and Brennan Johnson the other, he's just not getting any service.
Correct, which is why I would love to see Solanke up top where he's got Kudos on the right and I don't know, I mean, Xavi will be behind him and whoever we have on the left, but I'm hoping you get more out of Solanke that way.
I'd like to see us persevere with Odobert for a while.
Yeah.
Just to get a bit of consistent run in the team because it would be good to. What I don't want us to do is to accommodate someone else that we move Xavier over there because I don't think he's as effective on the left as he is in the middle.
No, he's not.
So I think we look better balanced with like Odobert on the left, Kudus on the right, Xavier in the middle behind Solanke. Feels like until we can get an upgrade on the left, that feels like about the most balanced way we could set up.
Yep.
The only thing I will say is though, because we suffered so much with injuries last year, and when we got to the kind of sharp end of the cup, specifically the domestic cups, we kind of fell to pieces because we had so many players out by that stage. We could have put a medical team 11 out. It was so bad.
Mm.
And I feel like this season he's definitely been consciously rotating players a lot more. I'm hoping that's on the basis that we don't want to burn anyone out and we'll. Not that it's not just that he doesn't know what his best 11 is, or he's just tinkering a lot to try and find a winning solution. I feel like he is at least resting some of the players. He's not running them into the ground. I wouldn't have thought he would. I really didn't think that Tell would start as a striker this season, but he's done that a couple of times already.
The thing with Brennan Johnson is that you can't pick players on sentiment and emotion, but like Maddison, he clearly seems to love the club. Going off of the interviews after we won the Europa League and just generally he seems to really be an important figurehead in the squad. But I just don't see enough from him. You constantly look at him in a game and he's frustrated, he's downbeat, his head down, but then it pop up on the back post after doing nothing and score.
Yeah.
It's like he's not going to be playing to get ahead of Kudos, right?
No.
On the right.
No.
And he doesn't do it on the left. So it's like, where does he fit? I think he fits probably on being sold. Sadly for him, I do. I see him gone next summer.
Yeah,
yeah. I think there's Gibbo and HG as well. Very anti Johnson. HG won't even admit that Johnson scored the winner in Europa. He says it's a Luke Shaw own goal. He still insists on that. I was prepared to give him a chance because looking historically at your Darren Andertons and Chris Waddles, they both had slow starts to their Tottenham career, and look what that blossomed into
as well.
Bale as well. Yeah, exactly. I think the North London derby last year was my final straw with him because he just won't take on a man. He's playing right. Compare him to Kudos. Kudos is much more effective. The irony is I would like to see Kudos score more goals. I don't know what his goal scoring record was like at West Ham, but if you're playing that system with the 3 up top, you need at least 10 to 15 goals out of those playing on the wings, and then your main man getting 20 goals a season. So that's important. But Johnson, everyone says he's good coming off the bench, but we do seem to have quite a few players who are good at coming off the bench, so that's not quite the point, is it? So I agree that I think he should go next summer.
I think, I don't know who I was speaking, I think it might have been Thomas, my son, so that when we look at the transfer window, we need to focus not just on raising the bar, we're not just raising the roof, but also the floor. So we really need to have better understudies for the players that are a starting 11 so that when we do rotate, we don't see this massive drop off. An example of that would have been the Super Cup final, right? Where I felt like we were absolutely dominant and we were really in great moment, and we made 2 or 3 substitutions and the drop off was noticeable.
Yeah.
And And I think that probably led to the kind of the late comeback that they had.
Hmm.
So yeah, I feel like that's something that we need. And I don't know whether it's a different form of scouting, because you're looking for different players that are going to be willing to be an understudy. It's probably a different dynamic, I would have thought, when you're hiring.
Is it
players
a
like that.
different form of scouting? Probably, but also the one thing I get frustrated by is our academy. Who was the last notable that we've seen come through? Obviously, Kane is the standout, right? I can't name another one where you had glimpses with Harry Winks when he had that amazing game and ran the show against Real Madrid.
Winks and Skip didn't
Ollie Skip.
they didn't last, did they? And they didn't raise the quality of the first team squad.
And this is. But we keep hearing that we've got the best training facility, the best academy. Like, well, where is it? Where are the players then? Because you can have the best facilities in the world, but I'm seeing nothing.
But if it's and the other thing is, sorry to cut across, if it's so good, why do we feel the need to go outside the club and buy these players for potential? Yeah. Because they're blocking the pathway, right? So Mikey Moore is the last season's Troy Parrott, right? And everyone's like, he's got to play. He's brilliant. He's amazing. And he's gone to Rangers. And I didn't realise until this week, but I think, what's his name? Gunnar Steinsson, who was with Paratici at Tottenham. And apparently was instrumental in Mikey Moore signing a contract with us when City were looking to nick him. You know, Mikey Moore's gone up there on loan. And I wasn't comfortable with that loan move. I'd stick players like that in the Championship. I mean, we have a running joke that whenever we want to send someone on loan, send them to QPR. Stay in London, nice little ground. Everyone's got a soft spot for QPR. And just go there. I didn't know why he went to Glasgow Rangers. It just felt a very strange move. So I agree. I mean, Dane Scarlett. No.
Why he hasn't already gone is beyond me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've got nothing against the guy. I mean, he always tries. He tries, but he's never going to be a regular at Tottenham. Surely he's got to be looking for regular football somewhere.
Yeah, he's another Darren Caskey. I mean, the names throughout the history of all these promising young players. So you might see a couple of good games. Jamie Clapham, Paul Mahorn. He was
so
rubbish.
many. Steve Slade.
Oh, God, yeah. All of those. And I just think that, obviously for every gem that we uncover, like your Harry Kane's, obviously a generational club history talent, it doesn't feel like that we've got players ready to come through. So you talk about this Irish lad who's been tearing it up. We brought him over, we paid an amount of money for him, and hopefully he comes good. Lancashires at West Brom. I think the Korean kids at Portsmouth done well in the last couple of games. Yeah. But, when people do these loan watch things, it doesn't strike me that anyone's really putting up trees on their loans.
But even the guy who was on loan at Notts County last season, who had a really good season for them, I think he's gone to Wickham. And he's hardly got a minute in the first team. So he had one good season.
Yeah.
The choice of loan is so important. If they're not playing, then there's absolutely no point in being there at all.
To David's point on Moore, he's not getting a ton of minutes. They've had a change in manager. Well, they will be having a change in manager because Russell Martin's been fired.
Yeah.
And it's a really strange one. As a young kid, it's a very isolating move to go all the way up there.
Yeah.
You're kicking your heels. You stay in London.
You've got a language problem.
Yeah, language barrier. Yeah. To our Scottish listeners, there will be subtitles provided.
And what's Donnelly doing at Stoke? Because I'd been reading he wasn't even starting there, and he did really well at Orient. I know it's
he's not. I don't think he's hardly played again. But then, to be honest, he hardly played up until Christmas for Orient. He really struggled to get into the team, but once he broke in, he absolutely lit the place up, and he was excellent.
Okay.
Who's the other guy? There's another guy. There's two of them at Stoke, isn't there? Ash Phillips, I think he's there as well.
Yeah.
How old is Ash Phillips now? He's 28 or something, 35 or something.
I mean, 37.
Another one we bought him from Blackburn. And
there's the other one who's up in Scotland as well, the other centre back.
Dorrington,
yeah. But he had a good season up there. Was it Aberdeen he was at, I think?
Yeah.
And then
Didn't
he's
they
back
win
up
the
there
cup
again.
or something?
Yeah, he's won a trophy, so he did all right.
Jamie Donnelly has played about 2.5 hours of football at Stoke this season, and 90 minutes of that was in the EFL Cup. So there answers your question. He's not getting a lot of football at all.
Because the head of the youth academy, I'm sure, was a guy called John Cartwright, who then he's gone off to the FA, right? And so I think it was under his tenure that we saw players being produced and things like that, right? Now, again, to the point, you've got the Chelsea model. who produce all these players, and it's part of you produce a domestic player, it helps you with your PSR, and then they sell them for a price and off you go. But we can't even do that at the moment.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's a bugbear of mine that has been for a long time.
Actually, just selling in general, we are so bad at selling players. It's a big issue, right? It's like what we've got them and we just can't get rid of them. They're like a bad smell.
Yeah.
I feel that the tone of this pod has gone a bit grumpy. I apologise for that. I know I'm coming from
That's
grumpy
okay.
old Spurs.
That's all right.
I seem to have polluted the early season optimism and grumpiness. My apologies.
No, I think that there's for all the positivity. I mean, you know, we've got some points on the board.
Yeah.
I think generally, I think we'd say I like what I'm seeing from Frank. I think he's considered and tactically astute person. I like the team he's built around him. I don't know if I told you, but Glenn, Thomas, a friend of a friend, let's put it that way. I think we're also getting a new nutritionist, head nutrition from Brentford as well.
Oh, okay. So you're more.
So again,
this is ITK exclusive. We are getting a different kind of ketchup in the canteen.
Yeah, so it's sugar-free.
Not Christian Gross eat a sandwich. You hear that Les Ferdinand story when he was made to eat a sandwich with a knife and fork? Because Christian Gross was like, it's etiquette and it's important for attitude. He's like, fuck off, mate.
Can I just ask you a slight tangent question, Glenn? So you're obviously based down Melbourne Way, Victoria Way, and that is where obviously I know and his family made their home in Melbourne, right? Yep. So as someone on the front line of Tottenham fans in Australia, so we win the Europa, and then within 2 weeks we've sacked him. Were you on the front line of the local Aussies turning around to you going, "How dare Tottenham do that"? Did you get any negative feedback?
Fuck yeah. I had text messages from colleagues
like you'd done it. You're the one who pulled the...
Yeah. I had text messages from colleagues at work like that were barely into football really, but knew and were like, what the fuck? Why have you done that? Like, he's just won you this. Like, what is going on? And yeah, so, and I was obviously, and I seldom go. I don't usually go into the pub for the games. I usually watch at home or go to a mate's.
Yeah.
But I was in the pub. I had a ticket for the final, but long story short, I just couldn't justify the $8,000 or whatever it was going to be to get there. And we had, anyway. But in the pub, there was, I don't know what Sydney was like, but in the pub here, they had no less than 3 different news reporters from ABC, 7 News, and 9
I saw that. I watched it here, but I saw that.
And it was all focused around Ange, and then it was like, you heard obviously the Aussie supporters, and then one of the questions put to them was like, will he keep his job? And they're like, he has to. It was all based on emotion. Look, it was certainly interesting to try and talk to people, colleagues, friends who are not really that into football, but are now because of Ange. They're probably more Forest fans now.
Yeah.
But to try and, my view was, look, objectively understood why they did it, right? As an entity, when your bread and butter is the league. But I do think, and I said this to them, a massive anomaly in the injuries that we had. And he came out and said it, didn't he, after the final? Some in the club didn't like it, but I put all my eggs in this basket and we've won it. So, but yes, to answer your question, I certainly did have shock and awe of what the hell have you just done. Did you see much of that in Sydney, David? Or
I got a truckload of it. So I watched the final here, hugged to my son. We both cried. I rang my brother in England. I ran 606, was the first one on to Chris Sutton and Robbie.
Brilliant. I have to find that. You've got a copy, send it to me if you've got an audio of it.
Yeah, it should still be in the history of the
I'll
pod.
find it, yeah.
So I go into the office, my boss at the time is a big Chelsea fan, but nice bloke, but a Chelsea fan. So he knew, and he's known me for a long time. So I go in the office for my scarf, I do a lap of honour around the office, the scarf aloft, down the boozer that night, got my scarf on. People coming up to me and they go, well, do you think they should sack Ange? I said, yeah, you got to sack him. Can't finish 17th. And they're looking at me like I've cancelled Christmas. So we do the deed. I'm working from home, and then I've got Sparky round sorting out a bathroom light or whatever. And then he's a mate of a mate who's a Tottenham fan. He starts talking to me about it. And he's like going, "It's an Australian, mate. Where were you? You didn't have any success, mate," and all the rest of it. And then I came up in my brain, I don't know if you two are into Test cricket. I then said, Justin Langer, yeah? And he goes, yeah, what about him? He goes, because it's cricket. Justin Langer, where was Australia in the Test rankings when you sacked Justin Langer? And he's like, so you sacked Justin Langer and you're top of the top. So you can't have a go at me. So if anyone has a go at you about Ange anymore, just go with the Justin Langer defence. That'll get them thinking, divert them, and then escape out the room. All right.
Great stuff. Well, and the thing was with Ange, I think at the time and for the 2 years he gave, I think he was a perfect manager for us. I think he united the fans somewhat. I think he got them on a bit of I think he used Spurs having that stick beaten with them, that it's Spursy. I think he used that to the benefit to go and win something.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the interviews leading up to the final with the likes of Owen Hargreaves and Paul Scholes and Roy Keane. And they are all banging the drum of, well, United will win because it's Tottenham.
Lads, Tottenham, they gave us a plug.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was like, Ange just used that as fire. He just said, look, that's what they're saying. Go and prove them wrong.
What you have to say about him is, no matter what you think about, objectively, the league performances were not good enough. Even when we had players back, we still played poorly. And eventually, I think that it was the right decision. But there isn't anyone in world football, maybe Mourinho's the exception, who has more confidence in themselves than Ange Postecoglou. He's a really, it rubs off on people as well. And I think that with the squad, what carried them, I think, a little bit through those, because the last couple of, certainly the group games were awful. Most of the Europa League group games were really poor. I mean, I went to all the home ones, and even the away ones, we kind of lucked through a couple of them, and then we lost again. Was it Galatasaray we lost away to?
Yeah.
So like we had that, and so we had some really poor performances, and then but we managed to get through, and then those last 2 or 3 games, he completely changed the way he played, which frustrated the shit out of me, because why didn't he do that in the league? If we clearly don't have the players to play the system, why didn't he do what he did in Europe and adjust? So like, he's his own worst enemy. Refusal to play according to the squad he had available to him really led to his downfall, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think with Ange, there was a lot of snobbery in the fan base when we appointed him, right? A lot, who's he, blah, blah, blah. But let's not forget at the time that Nagelsmann had turned us down. Tuchel was signed up for Bayern, I mean. And we didn't, and then, obviously we decided not to get that Slot guy. I don't know what happened to him. And so we ended up with Ange, and the club was toxic. We'd gone through Conte, Stellini, Mason. And so what I enjoy, the fact is that, the country that I've made my home as the first ever Aussie coach in the Premier League is in the club that I love. And I love that, right? And having lived here for many, many years, and Glenn, I'm sure you find this as well, is that sport is so ingrained in the culture down here. The long running joke is that, the first 2 items on the news is Aussie won gold and silver at the Olympics. And by the way, World War III's broken out. And that's just the way it is here. And I knew that what he would be bringing into the club is that he would unite the club, because it was pretty divided. And he did that, and he showed the Aussie way of doing that. And I really enjoyed that. I really like the way he stood up for the club. Like, you remember when Wenger said, I don't think the team should qualify, and he didn't take any shit from Wenger. He didn't Dan Kilpatrick and the clown thing, which was a disgrace. And he stood up for the club, and he made the point that, well, I'm the only one here who's standing up for the club. No one else is. And
I felt really bad for him like that, around that, because I did feel like he became the sole spokesman for the entire organisation. No one else will go out to bat for us, and so I felt bad for him, because I thought, and a couple of times I think he just got rubbed up the wrong way, and he did react to it. Probably. Well,
he's a grumpy Australian, and I've got.
Exactly.
I've got an Aussie passport. I've been grumpy since I've been in England. I'm grumpy out here, so I got a lot of time for that. But he did do missteps to the fans. I mean, that signalling to the Chelsea away end, and he made himself look like a complete idiot. I think he could have rotated Spence earlier than he did, and he made a lot of mistakes, right? And so the decision to get rid of him was correct. But, let's not forget the hand he was played. Levy went on about, we've got it on all fronts. By the way, I'm going to give you Odeberg, Timo Werner again, Bergvall, Solanke and Gray, and you've got to play 4 competitions. It was inevitable what's going to happen.
And at the same time, 11 players left the club that summer.
Yeah.
So we brought 5 in, and 11 went out the door at the same time.
That's right. So, yeah.
Sorry,
I went off on a tangent. My apologies.
No, we like tangents.
No.
It's Paran is the area. It's not that far. Like, I hope one day I'm kicking around Melbourne and I see the bloke, because he strikes me as the type of guy that would have time for you. And if I did have to see him, I'd shake his hand, I'd give him a hug, and I'd say thank you.
Same.
I would,
Same. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, if not only, I mean, I like you, David. I went to the stadium to watch it on the screens at the stadium because I couldn't go to, but couldn't get tickets for Bilbao. So I went with my son, and was lots of tears, lots of hugging,
Yeah, yeah.
and for me, because my boys are both 24, so they started supporting Tottenham in about 2009. So they kind of missed the last cup that we won, and so they've been the kind of nearly, we've had watched some really good football, but they've never seen us win anything. And
Yeah.
I felt, for me, and that was really for me all I wanted was so they could say
Same.
they'd seen it.
Same.
And I was quite, I didn't care about it for me. I cared more about it for them. But
I
that really
agree.
made my year. Really did.
Yeah. No, good stuff. Speaking of winning things, are we going to beat Villa? We've got an international game still for a few of our players, but they've not in great form. They haven't travelled well this season, but they did win right before the international break.
Mm-hmm.
News is no Watkins. I don't know if that's going to happen. He was sent home from England. So what do we reckon, David? Do you think we beat them? Well, we haven't been great at home either, have we, though? We've drawn with Wolves and lost to Bournemouth, of course. I think that's our last 2 home games in the league, is it not?
Yeah, I think the issue is that if Emery's a very good tactician, so if he decides to low block us, then we got a problem, right? Because, as I said at the start of the show, I do not want to see Bentancur and Paulinho together in this game. Okay, so I'd like to see probably Paulinho, Bergville or Sarr in the 8, and Simon at number 10. Then up top, I don't know if Solanke's going to be fit to start. I really doubt it.
I don't think so.
Moani played in a behind closed doors game. I can't see him being fit to start either. So you are going to be left with
Richarlison
or Tell up top. I'd carry on with Odegaard on the left. And then, I think, unfortunately for Jed Spence, I do think our best back 4 is Porro and Destiny as the fullbacks.
I also think all of Jed Spence's best matches have been at left back and not at right back.
Yeah, which is weird, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I don't understand. I don't know why, but yeah, strange.
And the other thing about Jed Spence, I always thought, I'm understanding it. Well, my understanding was his best as a right wing back, and he's great bombing forward, but not so good defensively. Well, from what I've seen in the last years, it's the reverse.
Yeah,
right?
he's better defensively, but not been that effective going forwards.
All of Europe's top divisions, I don't know if the stat still stood, but he was like the least amount of dribbled pass, like the take-ons. There was nobody better defensively in terms of that he had not been dribbled past. So, again, to Graham's point, that's when he was at left back, not right back.
That's right.
Which is really strange. Yeah.
Very strange.
It's like I feel vindicated though, because around the time he finally broke through and got game time when we had injuries last season at left back, I think he was covering for Udogie, got injured again at some point, and I think around January, and I was really. He had a run of games where he'd been excellent, and I was like, he has to be, given how poor the quality of the left back situation was for England, he has to be in with a chance again in the squad. And he didn't make it into the squad at all. And then, so yeah, I'm really pleased that he got a chance to play for England. So
yeah, he deserved it.
The only thing about that is all I do all the whole international break is worry about him coming back fit.
Yeah, well, this is it. Well, and I say it quietly because the way the fixtures fall with Arsenal, Liverpool playing on the Sunday, should we beat Villa, we'll go top.
Now you've done it. Now you've done it.
So,
now you've done it, Glenn.
Yeah. Man U Liverpool this weekend.
Yeah, Man United Liverpool, which I actually think Man United will beat them. I've got this feeling that Man United will show up in there because they have to. And then I think Arsenal will probably beat Fulham away. But as David just said, I've now jinxed it. But yeah, we'll go top if we win. So we're not going to win.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I think Arsenal are going to win it this season. Sorry.
It pains me to think that too, but it seems to me they
just have to hope that they do what they always do, which is come out the blocks fast and then fade in the second half of the race.
Yeah, but look, I think it's an interesting season so far because Liverpool at the back have looked very shaky. And
they do. They looked shaky in the first game against Bournemouth, and I was like, they don't look like a team that's going to win the league.
I'm not being glib. I don't think you can underestimate the psychological impact of Jota and what's happened to them, right?
Yeah.
City, I think Rodri's injured again, but I still don't think City are quite at it. Maybe they will be at it in time, a great run at the end of the season. Chelsea are a bit of a mixed bag, and then you've got your Newcastles. And I mean, there's a little bit of optimism for us to get top 4 and get the 4th spot. But I do think...
Is it 5 spots again this year?
It might change back because we've got so many in the bloody Champions League and you're right, and like everything this
Yeah.
year might make it harder. But I do think that Arsenal, they've got a much better squad now. I mean, I think that they're what's his face, their captain's out injured, but they've got back up there. I think it's there. So I'm winding up Gooners by saying if you book your flight next May to go to Islington Town Hall for the victory parade, so I won't wind them up about that. But I've got a feeling they're going to do it.
Yeah, it's worrying me as well. It's worrying me as well.
Sorry to end on a discordant, grumpy note.
No, not at all. Not at all. Let's just hope it don't happen.
Correct.
But no, I think
All right,
the
what about
Villa game.
Yeah, I was
Look,
going to say,
we're not only do we go top with a win, but we're also long overdue a win at home, aren't we? Because we haven't won for a while because it's Bournemouth defeat and the Wolves.
well, I'm
draw.
going, so I hope so.
Oh, there you go. We're going to win
It's
it.
pretty. Well, I'm not a particularly good omen at the moment. I've watched some pretty drab games recently.
Who are you taking? Who's going with you?
Don't know yet. I haven't made any plans.
Is there a
Boys,
particular person that you go with who's got a better track record at home versus another person that you go with?
Actually, not sure. I'll have
You
to have
might
a
need
look.
to do that
I'm going to
analysis.
go track back the last times they came with me. I'm going to I'm going to tell them, but I'm going to build a spreadsheet.
You should.
Yeah,
Right, you're not coming again.
yeah.
But yeah, I've got Joao, my friend Joao, who came on a couple of episodes ago from Lisbon. Him and his dad are coming over for the Man U game.
Oh, nice.
So that'd be cool. It's his dad's first time coming to London to watch a match. So both of them actually first time. So be good. Since he's gone out and bought a Spurs shirt, I felt obliged to at least let him see his first game in the stadium.
In theory, Spurs Villa's got the makings to be a decent game of football, right? There's two good managers, both good tacticians. There's good players on show.
Unless they negate each other, which is I think is what David said. If Emery just plays a low block and play the counter, then we might struggle to break them down, and then we might look fragile. On the break as well, which is where we always seem to struggle.
But again, to your point, Graham, let's get through this.
Sorry, basically, our Bournemouth played against us.
Yeah.
So.
To your point earlier, let's get through these last few games of international football and make sure we've got full quota available.
Yeah.
And we
Any
fly
predictions then?
Romero back quickly and get put on an easy jet.
Yeah, that worked quite well last time. He came back early, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Which doesn't.
No.
He's usually.
Who do they play, Argentina? Have they got a game left, I assume?
I think so.
They usually come back.
Right, okay, they play tomorrow away to Puerto Rico in a friendly. Surely he's not going to play that.
Oh,
He will.
He will. He always does.
Absolutely. He did. I don't think he missed a minute.
No.
Well, that's annoying. Well, let's hopefully get him back quickly.
What's
But
that?
good stuff,
Tuesday?
guys. I didn't have anything. I didn't
What
have a
about?
great
Sorry,
deal.
we didn't do predictions.
Oh, of course, yes. Predictions, scores. Look, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're going to beat Villa 2-0. I've got a feeling that it's going to be a clean sheet and we're going to win 2-0. David?
I'm going to go 2-1 with a tennis wrist Vicario palm into an oncoming, what's the name of that awful fullback? Like Cash.
Oh, yeah, Matty Cash.
And then
the most non-Polish player.
Yes. And so Cash will score, but we'll win 2.
I'll take it. Graham?
I've got a horrible feeling it'll be a draw again.
You're going, so...
Yeah, I think I got like a 1-1 or a 2-2. I don't know. I think I'm not. Maybe I need what I need to do is be less optimistic, and then I won't be disappointed. I'll go draw. 1-1 draw.
Indeed. Well, good stuff. Well, look, as I said, I don't have a great deal else. David, pleasure to have you on, mate.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
No worries.
I mentioned to Graham offline, actually, I'm in Sydney next week for work.
Oh, yeah?
I may just, I'll drop you a message if you've got time for a coffee or I don't know if you get in City at all, but I'll message you, see if we can work something out.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good.
Yeah, good stuff.
Awesome.
Well, nothing more from me, Graham, as always, other than to say, come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, thanks to David and thanks to everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tick up the algorithm so we can get in front of more Spurs supporters. And to close us out, as Glenn said, come on, you Spurs.
Cool.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day.